One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Oh man, if it's not obvious, it's obvious now. We got a lot going on with the war here, so let's go and get into it. As you guys can see here, Trump resumes Iran war. He let Congress know formally yesterday that hostilities resuming in Iran are going to happen. So then we have Hormuz blockade begins as well. So what they mean by that is the Iranian ports, the same blockade that we basically put in effect the first time is going to be happening a second time now, which I think it's already kind of being implemented right now as we speak. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and break down what we're going to be looking at this morning. And we are seeing the very first story is U.S. forces launch new wave of strikes amid Iran conflict. Now, of course, we've been following these strikes. I also been breaking all of the, any of these moment by moment kind of things, whether, for instance, like this, where a new wave of strikes comes in or whatever the case is. We're reporting that over there in the Discord in the breaking news area. So make sure you guys follow along in the Discord because it's if you want minute by minute plays, kind of thing. Then there's the question, what happens next with Lindsey Graham's Senate seat? And I'll tell you exactly what it is here very soon because we've got the update for you on that. Sister of Lindsey Graham chosen to serve remainder of his Senate term. Lindsey Graham's sister. Don't know anything about her. Then we have Trump yesterday signs orders shrinking Utah monuments as well as taking questions on Iran conflict. Now, I'm not really sure what shrinking Utah monuments means on that aspect. We'll figure that out together. He took a whole bunch of questions in the Oval Office as well. So we'll be listening to a little bit of that. Now, we also have Lindsey Graham's office has released preliminary cause of death as of just yesterday. There was other preliminary causes of death that were announced, but that was like the official from his actual office. Then we have Middle East latest. Trump announces new Hormuz blockade as strikes on Iran continue. Obviously, we're talking about the blockade of the Iranian ports. So yes, it's going to be right back to square one. Basically what I was telling you guys from a month ago or 2 months, however long ago it was at this point. U.S. strikes Iran again after Trump formally notifies Congress that fighting with Iran has resumed. Then we have Trump enforces Iranian blockade in Strait of Hormuz, declares 20% tolls. What? Saying that people should be compensated that are allowing the safe passage over there in the Strait. And then we have U.S. resumes strikes on Iran for the third day, which is today. Just 2 hours ago, just coming out. So anyways, I think the amount of rounds of strikes, though, I think it's been more than 3. I think at this point it's like 5, but they're going based off of main events day by day kind of thing. Anyways, before we get into the madness, let's go and do our call to actions quickly, and then we'll get right into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it, and it's free to do so. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, as well as make sure you guys go and join the Discord too, by the way. Just something I've been pushing out lately a lot, so you guys are going to hear me say that more often than just the one time that I usually do. Listen, also, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $4.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. It's what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. A little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time breaking news, as well as politics, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. So, of course, I've got my email up, and we're always scanning. All right, good morning to all of you legends in here, man. Appreciate all of you guys. Let's see. We're going to try to say hi to everybody. We got Easy Frank in the chat, my man. Good morning to you. We got Carney Vanguard as well. Good morning to you. We got Motobomb Virginia and the Coffee Crew. Thank you guys for the raid. Well, the raids, actually, because Carney, I think, was live streaming too. We got Pops, my man, as well as Brother So Loud over here. Let's see. We got Naomi in the building. Shout out to you, by the way. Good morning. We got Rabbit of Chaos. Tootie Bug, good morning to you, as well as Vanguard Critters. Let's move our way down as fast as humanly possible here. We got Steve Easy. Yes, sir. Good morning. And let's see. We got Chatting with Stacks. Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Hit the like on both sides. That's a fact, Jack. Let's see. I'm running our way down as fast as possible. We got Joker. Good morning to you. I'm a little slow this morning. We got Bill Castle. Good morning to you as well. Trump is wild, Steve Easy says. I agree. We got Mina as well. Good morning to you. We got Pablo, Charlie Rose, as well as Sick Bastard. Appreciate you guys. Big Dan, my man. Good morning. Let's see. Looks like we're about caught up now. All right. Let's go and get into the madness this morning. There's a lot going on. U.S. forces launched new waves of strikes amid Iran conflict. This was yesterday, just for context. And then we're going to get into the strikes of today, basically, from last night.
Right now, I do want to take you out to another big story that we continue to cover here with the help of Fox News, the Associated Press, and Reuters. Now, this is a post from Fox News as we have the latest on the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. The U.S. military again today striking sites across Iran in...
I don't know why it's a little low. I'm going to put it up on the board side, and I'm also going to speed it up too.
Retaliation for the IRGC attacks on ships that are traveling the Strait of Hormuz. Bahrain also saying that it intercepted additional missiles and projectiles that were fired in its direction hours ago. We know that.
What's up, Crack Baby? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. Happy Topless Taco Tuesday.
Just yesterday, Iran had fired at Bahrain, as well as Kuwait, Oman, and the UAE. Again, this is a post here from Fox News as they say that U.S. forces launch a new wave of strikes against Iranian military targets after the regime continues threatening commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz.
Wow, Jeremy Ryan, my man. Great to see you, by the way. Great. Hopefully you're enjoying your Tuesday morning so far. Definitely know that we are.
Of course, we continue to follow this image right here coming in from marine traffic. It shows kind of the situation playing out there with very little movement at this point. But again, you can see things continue.
It's basically almost no movement, just so you can, like there's not actual movement going on here.
Change, and there is that battle taking place between who actually owns the Strait of Hormuz, who controls it.
Well, of course, that's going to be the argument right now.
Point. Is it Iran? Is it the U.S.? Popping this up on your screen, we are also getting word coming in.
And theoretically, it shouldn't have to be either one. It's an international waterway. It shouldn't be enforced by either side, actually.
From CENTCOM, as they clarify a rumor that's been circulated by Iran on social media. CENTCOM posted claim Iranian propaganda claimed today that 3 American service members were killed in Kuwait by strikes from Iran. That is false. The truth, there are 0 reports of U.S. service member deaths or injuries in the region. All personnel are accounted for.
Well, that's good. That's a good fact check from U.S. Central Command right there.
As
on
always,
that.
A lot to discuss, and that's kind of an understatement. But I want to bring in Jason Embrodsky, Policy Director at United Against Nuclear Iran, to discuss it all. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, first off, the big question there, as you take a look.
By the way, I don't really need to hear too much from this guy, Jason. United Against Nuclear Iran. Yeah, you're not going to be You're not going to be objective. Come on.
In the middle of your screen, you can see a live look over the Strait of Hormuz. And I want to ask you, essentially, who controls it at this point? You have Iran claiming they do. You have the U.S. saying that's not the case. So,
well, the problem is if Iran's going to make that claim, we're going to have to come in there and basically do exactly what we're doing. So, but unfortunately, if we're right now, if we're going to talk about what ought be, neither side should be able to make the claim that the strait is under their control, because it's not under anyone's control.
Who is actually in control of the Strait of Hormuz? Do we know?
Well, it's great to be with you. The Strait of Hormuz is an international.
Oh my God! Listen to that guy.
Why are you gay?
Just saying.
You are gay.
Waterway, and so Iran does not have the right to claim control over that waterway. It's interpreting the memorandum of understanding that it inked with the United States.
There is no MOU anymore. It doesn't even matter. The MOU is null and void, right?
Quite broadly, but no one else in the international community recognizes unilateral Iranian claims of sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. So that is the reality.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. They're home. We got Herbert over here letting us know we're good. Let's go ahead and move on, because we do have a lot of the updates going into all of this stuff. I don't need to hear analysts speak on the whole topic. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring this up. What happens next with Lindsey Graham's Senate seat? As you guys know from the headline that is right after that, is sister of Lindsey Graham chosen to serve remainder of his Senate term. That's a big craziness. Big yikes. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Here we go.
This is a live image that we have just outside of the senator's
special election
there over in Washington, D.C. And as I mentioned,
nope. Instead, no special election. They just do their appointment.
Question is, what is going to happen now after Senator Graham died suddenly Saturday evening? Joining us next to talk a little bit about what we can expect is Meg Kennard with the Associated Press.
Hell yeah.
Meg, good
Oliver.
morning. Good to see you today.
Good morning. It's always great to be with you.
I mean, it was really major news, really shocking, I could say, because it was so sudden. But let's just talk about the fact that Senator Graham held so many influential positions.
Yeah, he was basically like a secret secretary of state
in key Senate committees. So what's going to be happening now? What's the impact that his absence is going to have, some of the goals that these committees have?
Absolutely. That question of not only what happens to President Trump's agenda moving through Congress, but also just the work of the Senate is a question that all the members who are returning to Washington this week after their break are going to be thinking about. Lindsey Graham had influence in a number of areas, but one of them had always been the Judiciary Committee that approves and is tasked with interviewing, basically, during hearings, all of those appointments to the federal bench, with the ultimate being
I actually really didn't know much about that aspect of what Lindsey Graham
the
did.
Supreme Court. And he played an influential role in all of that work. I think anybody who was covering politics during Brett Kavanaugh's nomination process remembers that vociferous defense that Graham gave as Kavanaugh was meeting all kinds of questions and criticism during that confirmation. And then, of course, as chairman, he helmed that confirmation process for Justice Amy Coney Barrett. So there's
a lot of what she's basically getting at is there is a lot of things that Graham did that was particularly important to the, whether it be administration or to Congress itself, and the overall well-being of it, I guess. So let's go ahead and bring up now. We have the update here where they're coming out on stage. Sister of Lindsey Graham chosen to serve remainder of his Senate term. Let's go ahead and bring this up, see what's going on here, and see what they say here.
Governor McMaster coming to the podium. Let's listen in.
So the governor does the announcement of it.
Okay. I think y'all will go over here.
You move over here. I'll move here. Go ahead and speed it up.
Today, in South Carolina history, there'll be other celebrations and events of all kinds. But I and the family thank all of you for coming here today. We meet in sadness over the loss of one of South Carolina's greatest sons. Here we also gather together to celebrate what this self-described poor boy from a small town, rural town in South Carolina accomplished. through grit, determination, and character for his state, for his country, and for his world. Lindsey Graham recognized the greatness of America and her obligations to a dangerous world. Lindsey Graham recognized the seriousness of his work, but also the value of humor and a lighthearted spirit. Lindsey Graham understood the hopes, dreams, and needs of his state and delivered for his state every time. Presidents, paupers, famous or forgotten, he treated us all the same. We have seen him attack evil and injustice and embrace friendship and the common good with equal fervor and strength. Yes, we are going to miss Lindsey, but we will always remember his quickness, his laugh, and what he has done for us and the world.
Yes, it's time to fill that seat up real quick. Empty seat.
As he described himself, this poor boy from a little town in South Carolina. Today, under the law, it's my duty and honor to name.
What's up, Fabian? Good morning to you, by the way. Nice.
Someone to serve in the place of this irresistible man.
What's up,
this
Jason?
Irreplaceable man. This extraordinary man for the remainder of his term. Lindsey took care of his little sister in years long departed. It's my honor to ask his little sister, Darlene Graham, to finish his work for him now. And by the way, Darlene, I don't know if I told you, but after we spoke on the phone in the wee hours of Sunday morning, and you agreed to serve through tears, earlier, I had wondered what you would say. And I was humbled by your quickness to see the duty that you had to serve.
Okay, this is all great and dandy. We've already gotten halfway through, but I really do want to hear the appointment.
And I called the president afterwards.
There it is, I think.
And he thought it was a great idea. And I'm sure that everyone here does as well. Darlene, little sister, come forward, please.
Thank you, Governor, and just bear with me as I try to get through this. But first, I just want to say one thing I've never heard Lindsey described as is irresistible. So, okay, we'll just start with that. But first, I would like to thank everyone who has.
Yes, I wasn't around during those times, but I know exactly who Jimmy Carter is and also the roles that he played.
Called and reached out over the past couple of days. I can't tell you how much it's meant to me and our family. I know Lindsey was loved and respected by many, and I greatly appreciate the memories and even the funny stories that have been shared. These shared experiences, along with our faith, have gotten us through these past 2 very difficult days. Next, I want to thank the governor for selecting me to serve the remainder of Lindsey's term. It is such an honor. Lindsey has always been there for me, and now I will be there for him. My brother was the most amazing person, outstanding leader, and just a genuinely good man. He was kind and considerate and loved by his family dearly. As I think everyone would agree, Lindsey worked harder than anyone. He worked nonstop to make our state, country, and world better. He loved his family and loved serving this state and our country. He dedicated his life to our country.
Hell yeah, I got myself a little hangover this morning, but it's all good.
It is such a privilege to get to finish.
I got a doctor's appointment that I got to go to right after this too.
Some of his important work, and I promise to work hard over the next several months to support the president and carry forward the efforts of my brother on behalf of the citizens of South Carolina and the United States. I know Lindsey thought the world of his staff and colleagues, and with their support, I feel confident. I think this is what Lindsey would have wanted, and I plan to honor him in this way. Now to Lindsey, I miss you more than I can even put into words, but I'm going to do this. I got it. Thank you.
Well, that's pretty wild, actually. I'm not going to lie. I didn't see that one coming. Yesterday, I would have never guessed that was going to be the way that this played out. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on into Trump now. Trump signs orders shrinking Utah monuments. I'm not even sure what the fuck that means. And then takes questions on Iran, the Iran conflict over there. So he's in the Oval Office here. Let's go and bring this up. Oh, quickly, before we do, actually, I think what we need to do is all embrace our fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
You shall always embrace the process. Yeah, I don't get that hammer, Naomi. I'll get a little lit for damn sure, but I don't stumble like that. Even as a one-legged motherfucker that's hammered, I ain't gonna be on that level. So anyways, not anymore. I used to maybe when I was younger. So all right, let's go and bring this up. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. We have the governor of Utah, and we have a lot of other very high representatives from Utah, at least mostly from Utah. And we're doing something very dramatic and very important for the people of Utah and the people of our country, because many people use it. We're terminating certain monuments. They call it monuments, not the ones we have outside, but these are large, thousands of acres. It's a total of almost 3 million acres. And we're going to be discussing it. But in fact, I think we'll start discussing it right now before I sign. After that, we're going to be signing two.
No, I knew what you were saying, but I was talking about how I'll drink and I'll have a good time, but I don't get to that level anymore.
Documents that are close to 1.5 million acres each. And Governor, do you want to say a few words about what we're doing and explain it to the...
Well, before the governor of Utah does speak, we got Logical Spark in the building, as well as No Grow. Good morning to you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday so far.
Press.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. President. This is a big day for Utah. The president did something very similar several years ago during his first term. Of course, the monuments were re-expanded under the past administration. And this matters to Utah. We believe that under the Antiquities Act, it's very clear.
That is also true. That is true. I actually made a before I went to bed last night, I made a video of gun safety, actually, ironically, and it went viral. Everyone liked it. So, it just is what it is. It's what happens. I get a little motivation.
That these monument designations are supposed to be the smallest area possible to protect the antiquities, and these multi-million acre monuments that are bigger than the state of Delaware certainly do not fit that designation. Now we definitely care about protecting these antiquities, and will continue to do so. The problem is with these.
Shit, what's up, TNT? Hopefully you're enjoying your morning. Wow, we got Evil Rick coming on out of nowhere. Didn't even say hi yet. He just sends in 5 gifted memberships. That's a major W, by the way. Let's go. Not only helping me, but 5 others in the IWF, man. Thank you very much for that. It goes a long way. W, making it rain in the chat. Absolutely. Good morning to you.
9 monument designations. There are no resources that come with those. We have 9 monuments in Utah. 7 of them are around 700 acres to 7,000 acres. That's what this was meant to be, not millions of acres as what happened with Grand Staircase Escalante and Bears Ears. And so we're grateful that the president has made a determination, and we need to right size these monuments. Again, this
What's up, Mr. Stein?
does not remove the other protections that already exist in those areas, just making the monuments more manageable so that we have the resources necessary to continue to protect these antiquities. I know we have the Deputy Secretary of the Department of Interior here with us. Kay, is there anything you'd like to add?
I'll just say the Antiquities Act is 120 years old, but the first monument that was created was only 1,200 acres. So if you think about it, since then, President Clinton, President Obama, and President Biden have increased the acreage in the state of Utah and locked those acres up. Over 3 million acres.
For nobody to use.
3 million acres? What? They've locked up 3 million acres? Are you serious?
So if you think about it, since then, President Clinton, President Obama, and President Biden have increased the acreage in the state of Utah and locked those acres up. Over 3 million acres.
For nobody to use.
Wow.
Right? You can't do anything. You can't go hunting. You can't go fishing. You can't do anything. You can virtually not even walk on it.
Yeah, what a fucking land grab by the government.
That's exactly right, sir. So you were remedying that.
I remember now. I do remember. I have a great memory.
And Mr. President, I know Senator.
And this
Lee's
is actually better than the first time. What we're doing.
It is better. Yeah, Senator Lee's been very
You be good, Easy Frank. We always appreciate you.
involved, I know, in conversing with you.
Good. That's true. Mike? Go ahead.
Smallest area compatible with the objects to be protected. That's always been the standard under the Antiquities Act. President Biden, President Clinton, and President Obama overlooked that standard. President Trump is fixing it today.
Oh, that's a W.
Thanks, Mike. You had something to say. I thought that was very important.
Celeste.
Well, I think it's worth noting for the press in the room that
See, that's exactly right. DQ coupons are DQ coupons, homie.
both of these monuments were created over the unanimous opposition of Utah's federal delegation, our governors, county commissioners, the locals who are worried about losing multiple uses on these federal lands. And we're standing here.
What are those federal lands doing? Just sitting there doing nothing? I mean, at that point, if you got like 3 million, I mean, that wouldn't that be like kind of the area that you would want to put a whole bunch of data centers or something like that? I mean, it's away from everybody, right? I mean, it's isolated. But what a trip. 3 million acres of basically unusable land because the government locked it up.
With the governor, the speaker of the Utah House,
that's crazy.
The entire Utah federal delegation supporting a president listening to the people of Utah and saying, we know you value this land, you want it used for multiple use and not locked up. And so this is a very different process than how the monuments were created.
Well, they took the land away from the people, quite honestly. It was ridiculous. And I remember Orrin Hatch, before he passed away, was a great guy, he was a friend of mine, and he felt so strongly about this. And we signed, and then they terminated it after they got in office, which was crazy. And we're putting it back, but we're actually giving more than we did the first time back to the people of Utah. Please, go ahead.
Couldn't say it better than Representative. I think people don't understand Utah is over 2/3 owned by the federal government.
Wow. 2/3 of Utah is owned by the government. That's fucking crazy.
Where these monuments are at, over 90% federal land.
I had no idea.
When people make decisions about this 2,000 miles away, you can see how that steps on the local people who only control about 5 or 10% of the land of local government. So not only do you have all these dynamics, you have an economy. You can't pave roads, you can't build schools, you can't pay fire people, police department because of this dynamic of 95% federal.
What's up, Kerry? What's up?
Lands.
Good morning.
Part of that is Utahns will tell you they love these lands. They manage them better than people 2,000 miles away. So if this is about good management, it really should be done in Utah by people who have demonstrated over decades and decades and decades and generations that they're good managers of this land.
Great job, well said. Anybody? No? You're leaving? I can't believe it.
Very excited.
I can't believe it. You're excited? Where are you going from here?
Well, can I say this first of all? We sat down with the previous administration and said, then we'll just work this out. So we don't have to keep going back and forth. Just work with us.
Right.
And we promised that once we have the power, we're going to make sure the people's voices are heard. So thank you for helping us keep our promise.
My honor.
Unfortunately, the last administration did not understand that this would happen one day. So thank you so much.
Great honor. Let's sign. This is very nice. I'm very happy about this.
See, unfortunately, I wish it was, going through Congress, though, so it could actually stick, in 3 years from now, anything could be overturned from an executive order.
And better than the first time. Okay, here's number one.
No, I didn't see Rand Paul up here.
Okay, number two. Here you go, Doctor.
Thank you.
Almost 3 million acres. Going to be well taken care of now.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Yes, that is very true. That is Trump's biggest weakness, is getting anything through. Aside from, he did get the big, beautiful bill through, but what a terrible bill that was. Just a pork-filled fucking anti-American, actually. It was dolled up to make it sound like it was great for Americans, and there is a couple of things that is a benefit to Americans, but the rest of it, and it's brutal.
Pat, who should I give this to? Maybe the governor's representative, right? And Mike, how about
What's up, Wyatt? Good morning.
Thank you. So, we've done something that was...
Oh, my God. Great to see you in the chat, Straight.
I think
morning.
very desperately needed. It was very unfair to the people of Utah. And now fairness has been brought back. It's going to be better taken care of. And they'll be able to use it a little bit. So there's something very nice about that. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Great jacket, my man. Good morning. And by the way, he's coming in with the 8 months. I very much appreciate that. Goes a long way. Topless Taco Tuesday for Brother Straight Jacket. That's a fact.
You have any questions about this? First of all, most importantly, anybody want to talk about this?
I've got
Jeff,
I've got one on Iran too, but I'll start with this. Just you said that 70% of the land was federal. Was there any other way to turn this around? How is it that I guess my question is how did it get there if it's a state?
Go ahead. You want to discuss that?
The land ownership is what it is. But under the Antiquities Act, 120 years ago, Congress made the decision to give presidents the power to designate by executive proclamation certain land as monument. It was supposed to be the smallest area compatible with the objects to be protected and connected.
So not the biggest area possible.
With that. Now, initially, as the Deputy Secretary of the Interior explained a minute ago, that meant a few hundred, maybe 1,000 or 2 acres at the most.
Right. And it sounds like every administration leading up to this has basically expanded that, more and more acreage until it's to the point where it's 3 million acres. That's crazy.
These are 3 million acres. As I explained to President Biden, that's 2 Delawares. It's been abused, and so it was done by executive action. President Trump.
Yeah, and that's of course, if it's protected land for like native tribes, then yeah, of course, those got to be left alone. Of course,
is right sizing it to bring it into.
I don't think that's what they're talking about.
Mr. President, just on Iran, you have said now to Congress that we are back at war. How long do you expect this to take, and what's the legal basis?
Take what?
The war.
Well, I think it's going very fast. We've demolished their military. We're hitting them very hard. And we had a deal yesterday or the day before yesterday. It was all done. And then they broke up that deal immediately because they found out there was something in the deal they didn't like. And they're wired differently, and we're not going to put up with it. We are just going forward. We're attacking them tonight. We're taking out all of their capability for anything having to do with the Strait, with the Hormuz Strait. And I think in the end, we will end up just controlling the whole thing. And what they're doing is being...
Hey, if anyone's going to have a midget fund, it's going to be me, okay?
Very foolish, very stupid, and they've treated people horribly. They've killed 52,000 protesters so far that we can determine. It might be more than that, but 52,000 protesters have been killed, and it's really a terrible situation. We'll have it under control very quickly. Yeah. Please.
We'll take a couple more questions, and then we've got to move on.
Wait, please. Wait, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
Be nice, Jeff. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I have to teach him to be nice.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your presidency, so a lot of us here actually witnessed a miracle 2 years ago today as we were on the ground covering your rally in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Right.
You said a lot of times that you believe that God has saved your life. Has there been a moment throughout your presidency so far where you thought this is why God kept you here?
Well, we're doing a lot. We have a country that I use the expression "Make America Great Again," and we've done far more than anyone thought possible, including maybe even me. We've done things that are unreal at 19.2 trillion.
My man, Jack Talcott. Yes, sir. Blessings to you, kind sir. Great to see you in the chat.
The money
Good morning.
being invested in our country is more than any country has ever had by many times. We have trillions of dollars coming in because of the tariffs and the proper use of tariffs, because all of the things. I think because of the election. November 5th was a very important day. When you look at the military, we have the strongest military in the world. We rebuilt it largely during my first term. We have recruitment now. We're setting records in recruitment. We had, if you go back to the campaign when I used to talk about it, the last administration, they couldn't recruit soldiers. We needed soldiers in every single branch of our military, and that included police and firemen. Nobody wanted to do anything having to do with the uniform in this country because they weren't proud of the country. And now the people are very, very proud to be an American. Our country is doing phenomenally well. We're respected all over the world. If I go, no matter where I go, we just got back from NATO, and I think you saw the response. It was like a very beautiful thing, actually. It was a total response, totally positive response. No matter where we go, we're respected again, maybe respected more than ever before. So I appreciate the question, but that's pretty much it.
All right, we're going to go and leave it at that. Let's go on and move on. Let's see. We got Lindsey Graham's office releases preliminary cause of death. Sounds like an update here because it came out yesterday. Let's go ahead and bring this up and see what's happening here.
Back here for
Quickly.
You on live.
We're not even going to play this whole thing either.
Now from Fox, I'm your host, Mike Page, as we continue to roll on. And next up, we want to talk about, again, the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, the shocking news that came over the weekend. And just yesterday, we learned the news, according to the Washington, D.C. Chief Medical Examiner, that Senator Lindsey Graham died of an aortic dissection. We just learned that news yesterday. And so many people have questions about maybe what it is, how common or rare it is. So we want to get the medical perspective and insight on this. So I want to bring in our next guest to help break it all down, Dr. Gregory Katz, cardiologist with NYU's.
Look at that guy's head. That is a bulbous head. If I've ever seen one. Looks like a sideways little disfigured light bulb.
Health. Great to have you on, doctor. And again, first off, if you could just explain to our viewers, is this common or is this sort of a rare issue that we see with men in that age group?
Yeah, thanks for having me. An aortic dissection is one of the scariest medical diagnoses. It's often taught to people who are in training, residents, medical students as an absolute can't miss. And, fortunately, it's a rare diagnosis. It's not very common. The exact estimates will vary depending on sort of what method of studying it you look at. But ultimately, it's a pretty rare diagnosis, even though it's a really scary one.
And Doctor, I wonder too, with this situation, therefore, Senator Graham, is this something that, you know, in the days before this all happened, would he have been feeling any discomfort, or is this something that comes on very, very sudden?
Yeah, you know, it's hard to know. I wasn't the doctor taking care of him. I don't have access to any of the medical information. When I've seen patients who have survived aortic dissections, you get a mix of different stories from what people experience. Some folks will report that they were having chest pain, they were having tightness in their back, that were in the days or hours preceding the event. But other people have no warning, and it happens really, really abruptly. And importantly, people with this condition, with aortic dissections, can have all different types of ways that they come to medical attention. So not everybody has the classic ripping chest pain that goes to their back. Some people will have some chest discomfort. Some people will be short of breath. Some people will suddenly and abruptly pass out. The symptoms are so varied, and that's part of why this can be such a tricky diagnosis to make.
And let's also talk
definitely interesting
about the connection between high blood pressure and this.
Don't need that. We already know how heart attacks work. All right, we're gonna move on. Just wanted to hear that little segment quickly before we get back into Iran. Middle East latest. Trump announces new Hormuz blockade as strikes on Iran continue, and that's in the regards to blockades, the Iranian blockade of their ports. So let's go and bring this up. Here we go. I think Hal Kempfer's on this.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. We continue to track the latest developments in the Middle East. Alexandria Hoff with this report.
The USA will be, from this point forward, known as the guardian of the Hormuz Strait. The president shared in a Truth Social post this morning, continuing, but as such, and as a matter of fairness, will be reimbursed at the rate of 20% on all cargo shipped. This charge is explained as a protection fee for eligible cargo seeking passage through the volatile petroleum choke point. Iran's targeting of commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz is what led to the collapse of last month's memorandum of understanding.
They're taking over the strait. They have nothing. They've got nothing.
3 weeks ago, Trump administration members, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, blasted Iran for seeking to monetize the waterway.
No country is allowed to charge tolls or fees on an international waterway. I don't think we have anybody to convince
That was back in June 23rd.
Here in that regard. I think all the countries in this region would agree with us.
Today, Iran's foreign minister, attempting to capture irony, wrote, "The president of the United States is absolutely right," stating he agrees that a country guaranteeing safe passage.
Now, this is actually pretty fucking funny. The Iranian foreign minister made this post, and it is pretty funny, actually.
He wrote, "The president of the United States."
President POTUS is absolutely right. Whoever provides secure and safe passage of commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz should be compensated for this service. Iran has always been the guardian of the strait and will remain so forever. 20% is, of course, too much. We will be fair. Oh, my God. They're good trolls, I'll tell you one thing.
Is absolutely right, stating he agrees that a country guaranteeing safe passage deserves compensation, arguing Iran has always been the guardian of the strait and will remain so forever. 20% is, of course, too much. We will be fair. In terms of where negotiations stand, President Trump tells Fox that an 11-hour meeting with mediators yesterday ended in an agreement, only for it to fall apart when the Iranians called back wanting changes. The president plans to address the nation Thursday at 9 p.m. at the White House. Alexandria Hoff?
Yes. So it is happening not tomorrow, but the next day.
Fox News.
At 9 p.m.
Okay, and let's bring in
Eastern, by the way.
Our Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer. And Hal, I'm not quite sure why I'm blurry right now, but let's get into this regardless. Hal, I just want to say we've been in a fairly similar circumstance for the past 3 days now. I got to ask, when we talk about negotiations happening behind the scenes, and we just heard in Alexandria's report there that there were substantive discussions taking place between the two sides just for things to fall apart again, and now we stand where we stand. Is there still fire taking place in the Strait of Hormuz at this hour? What level of clarity do we have on whether or not there are...
And in full transparency, this was 13 hours ago, so this was yesterday evening.
Still strikes ongoing.
And we're about to get into the reports that happened overnight as well, leading us into this morning.
Well, as far as I know, yes, there have been strikes ongoing. I don't know if they've continued to this particular
Texas Gidget. Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
hour. I saw one report that indicated there were still some strikes going on, but the back and forth is still going on as far as I can tell, and we're still striking on numerous targets along the Strait of Hormuz, along the Iranian coastline, to try and basically trying to debilitate their capability of attacking commercial ships, whether it's in the Strait or anywhere in the Persian Gulf or even outside outside of the Strait. So, yeah, as far as I know, that's still going on. And there's just been a lot of interesting...
That's right. David knows the deal.
Innovative things that have been done in that regard.
You talk about innovative, and I know that this is a video that came across your plate. A lot of people have been talking about this on social media. The U.S. sent this video out, and we're used to CENTCOM.
This right here, what you're about to see, is a drone boat, essentially. And it's a one-way drone boat. You know, they drive them across water and blow them up.
Videos out of drones. Usually we're seeing airborne
doing that.
Drones. Usually we're seeing strikes, but this is a little different. They say they're using one-way attack surface drones. They posted this video of it. I watched it this morning, Hal, and I immediately thought to myself, I have to ask Hal about this tonight. What are we looking at? What's on our screen right now?
You're looking at what's called a USV, unmanned surface vessel. That is a one-way attack drone. Some call them kamikaze drones. I'm not a big fan of that term. It just sounds weird to me. But basically, the drone obviously has a warhead with a lot of explosive force, and it's used to attack a variety of targets. It could be used against ships. It could be used against, in this case, a port facility with ships. This is Bandar Abbas. This is their largest naval port in the Strait of Hormuz.
Correct. Now, this is where, believe it or not, they're getting kind of hit the most. A lot of that coastline is getting just beat to shit. I mean, just time and time and over and over and over again kind of thing. So let me show you. This is the Iranian port that they're talking about specifically. Bandar Abbas. This is probably right where they struck, where you just saw that video. Probably right here. Yep. So this is a nightmare. But all of these areas, Sirak has been hit. I mean, all these areas along the coast have been just bombarded totally. Qasem Island as well. And there was even some military movements that were going on with Karg Island like 3 days ago, something like that. Anyways, there was action that was going on all over this place. So anyways, let me go ahead and stop sharing that. Let me get back into the story here quickly.
Hormuz is actually the largest city in the Strait of Hormuz as well. And this is, as far as I know, this is the first time that we have used an unmanned surface vessel as an attack drone like this. Now, we have seen videos similar to this put out by Ukraine for years. They have the Sea Baby drones that they've used to attack Russian ships.
Yes, by the way, let's get the likes up, everybody. You guys don't have to like all the craziness that's happening around the world, but you guys can hit the like button for me and what we're doing here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Thank you, guys.
And Russian ports, and to tremendous effect across the board. They just used it in the Sea of Azov to phenomenal effect, basically shutting down Russian shipping coming out of the Sea of Azov. So we've seen that, but this is the first time that I'm aware of that we have employed this. And it really changes the math because these are so much more or so much less expensive than some of the other weapon systems we have. It's kind of getting into that cost effectiveness of weapons. You know, we've had that issue with unmanned systems and using $2 million missiles to take out 35,000 airborne drones. Well, this is a very, very effective, cost-effective way of taking out these naval facilities.
And by the way, since you guys are going crazy with the sandwich, let's go ahead and just get down with our bad self.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big-ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Actual factuals, by the way. All right, back to this.
So this is not a speedy drone that we're looking at here. The Iranians are not able to slow this. I mean, you see it moving through the water there. They're not able to detect and stop this thing despite it moving that slowly?
You know, the problem is that the water works both ways, shall we say. And one of the things with the waters out there is certainly in the afternoons, you'll get quite a bit of wind and you'll get a lot of chop on the water. And if you have a low profile vessel like this, it is very difficult for them to see this thing coming in. And so whereas we see it when it's in the port itself where the waters are calm, and we're thinking, wow, how is it they couldn't see that? Well, that's because we're looking for it as well. But when it was out there, crossing over, for however far it went, that it's the same problem we have detecting some of their gunboats. You know, they're fairly low profile, they're lighter craft, and this is much lower profile than a gunboat. So no, a lot of times they just can't see it. And I think you're seeing kind of at least in naval warfare in the Strait of Hormuz, this is sort of a strategic inflection point that doing this, I don't think you're going to see us do these types of attacks the same way we ever did them before, because now we have a capability, proven capability that can actually hit these targets very well. And it's also, to your point, adding to our knowledge of what the Iranians can pick up and not defend against.
Let's ask, let's kind of talk about some of the other news of the day, because
obviously you don't know the joke about George Bush and that quote.
There's some interesting headlines that are coming through, not only about Iran and the U.S.
Who said that again? It was Kanye West, right?
Although this does
that said that shit.
Indirectly have to do with the United States. Barack Ravid of Axios has this. He says that President Trump
Yeah, and I modded them. What, you got a fucking problem, idiot?
gave Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman,
What the
MBS,
fuck?
his support for a highly unusual military action against the Houthis in Yemen, the Iran-backed Houthis. The Saudi strike happened on Monday at the Sana'a airport, Hal. Why are the Saudis getting involved in this way right now?
Well, now we reported a bit about this yesterday as well. I was giving you guys the heads up yesterday morning about keep an eye out with what's going on with Saudi Arabia and Yemen in regards to the Houthi rebels up there or down there in Yemen. Obviously, they Saudi Arabia was attacking the Houthis, essentially Yemen's airport up there or down there. I don't know why I keep saying up there. It's down there in relative to Iran, but anyways, Saudi Arabia did a little bit of an attack on their tarmac.
There's a lot going on with well, first off, the Houthis have been threatening to go ahead and start targeting commercial shipping going through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the Red Sea area, which leads to the Suez Canal, and closing off that other big maritime choke point or waterway in that part of the world. And if they close off the Bab el-Mandeb, at the same time we have all the problems with the Strait of Hormuz, you end up having a rather substantial compounded problem with shipping worldwide, basically putting a lot more miles and everything else. Anyway, the Saudis don't want to see that happen. The Saudis have had a problem with the Houthis forever. The other thing is in Yemen, the government of Yemen had been up until recently kind of broken into two primary factions that were at odds with each other and at times fighting each other. And that confrontation between those two factions is kind of what gave the Houthis enough room to basically establish themselves like they did. Now those two factions have come together under a unified government. They control 80% of Yemen, and now they're able to focus on the Houthis in a unified fashion. They've always had the backing of the Saudis, so the Saudis did this strike on Sana'a airport. They also worked on intercepting a flight of Houthi officials coming back from Iran, forcing them to land in a third country. And so they're being very assertive. Of course, the Houthis have said that they're going to strike back and they will hit Saudi targets and all the stuff you'd expect the Houthis to say. But this could be a return to active combat engagement.
Well, it's absolutely what we're looking at. Not just for the United States, but for the region itself. So anyways, let's get back into U.S. strikes Iran again after Trump formally notifies Congress that fighting with Iran has resumed. All right, let's go and bring this up.
I have been talking the last few days about the war in the Middle East. We've been discussing all the latest developments having to do with this tenuous ceasefire, this fragile ceasefire that everybody is discussing. Alone is here, and Alone, we're standing here yet again, 3 nights in a row now that the strikes have continued in the region. I always got to start by saying, what's the latest we're hearing on the ground? We sometimes hear about kinetic action later on, but are we hearing any rumors or any reports of anything happening right now in real time, 10 p.m. Eastern time?
It's good to see you, Austin. So I was just looking at the latest reports that are coming out from Iran, and honestly, right now, we're not hearing of any specific strikes that are happening. The United States, CENTCOM did.
No, what we are hearing, at least from Iranian state TV and Iranian news, is that there was explosions going around all over the place, but they hear explosions. I mean, there's explosions that kind of are going on everywhere. So people are just reporting that sound.
Declare that they are carrying out another wave of attacks. Trump himself said there was going to be a very, very large wave of attacks that happens in Iran tonight. So we are expecting to see that.
That was last night.
That happened.
What he's talking about.
There's a lot of rumors that the attacks are going to center much more inward on Iran, specifically in this area north of Isfahan, in the area of Natanz. Trump explicitly mentioned.
No kidding, Joe Mac.
Towards one of the.
What's up, Brown Chicken? Great to see you in here, by the way. And yes, he says, been here watching. Thought I'd say hi. Yes, absolutely. Good morning to you.
Nuclear facilities there. So maybe that's a threat. Maybe that will happen. But I will say we haven't heard a lot of alerts that are happening at this point. We heard them, about, I would say 10 hours ago, there were some reports of attacks that happened in the typical areas around Hormuz, Bandar Abbas, and these areas. Yep. Otherwise, we haven't seen a lot of things happening yet. I do expect that we'll see them in the next couple hours, or we'll see some sort of announcement of why the United States has not carried them out. Otherwise, they're probably on their way.
And honestly, last night, I didn't do the best of jobs keeping up with what was going on minute by minute. So, usually I'm really good about watching minute by minute plays of what's going on with this war.
So, Lucas Tomlinson put this out. President Trump was talking with Hugh Hewitt earlier today, saying that Pickaxe Mountain in Iran is a possible target for a nice big fat shot right in the front door, as the president puts it. Pickaxe Mountain alone, remind us, what's at Pickaxe Mountain?
That's a fact, by the way. Hit the like and say hi. Facts. I think Pickaxe Mountain is, isn't it some regards to their nuclear?
So let me start from saying that far be it for me to argue with the President of the United States, but it's not going to be a nice, easy shot at Pickaxe Mountain. Pickaxe Mountain is that area that I was talking about in the Natanz region, north of Isfahan.
Right, which we've struck before.
Within that region, we have several different nuclear facilities. All of these nuclear facilities, Tehran, Isfahan, Natanz, Qom, Bushehr, they were all attacked by Israel and to some extent by the United States, some of them.
You won't believe who just direct messaged me right now. Hal Kempfer just DM me.
The
awesome.
war in 2025, the famous 12-day war in June 2025, and then they were attacked again by Israel and the United States much more actively in the current round of fighting between February and April. This is one of the facilities that, to be perfectly honest, at least in what is publicly stated, we don't know that much about. There are different enrichment facilities or facilities that are part of Iran's nuclear program. Some of them are dedicated towards enriching uranium. Some of them are dedicated towards actually...
You know, it's crazy that Trump would say, and basically what Steve Easy said, it's wild work to just go ahead and let everyone know what the fuck you're about to do before you do it. And, you know, Trump did tell somebody over there from Axios or whatever, tells Hugh Hewitt or whatever his name is, Pickaxe Mountain in Iran is a possible target for a nice big fat shot right in the front door. Damn.
Putting together the parts that would be made that would be necessary in order to manufacture a bomb. Some of them are more basic, like the area in Bushehr in the southern parts of Iran that are associated more with producing heavy water, which is one of the components that is needed then to enrich uranium in the other facilities. This facility specifically that is being referenced right now is another facility that is buried deep in the mountain, like Fordo. We all remember Fordo. We spoke endlessly.
Yeah, that was the big one that where we dropped. What was it? 14? No, it was 14 total. We dropped 12 on that particular spot.
About the facility in
of the 30,000-pound bunker busters
that was bombed by the United States, the B-2 bombers. This is a similar type of facility that is in the area of Natanz. It is reportedly used in order to enrich uranium. What is important about this facility, and why I would say Trump is specifically singling it out, is it is one of those places that the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, has not had clear access to over the years, one. And two, despite it being bombed by both Israel and the United States, there have been reports that Iran is trying to rebuild it from underground. Iran has a whole network of underground cities.
Of course. A lot of these countries, when, you know, I've actually watched this documentary about, I think it was in Hamas, or regards to Hamas in Gaza. They were talking about like how if your enemy owns the sky, you have no other area to go than down below to bury yourselves. And though a lot of the Middle East has underground cities, okay? Some of them, like for instance, what's underneath Gaza, it's just as big, if not bigger, than the city itself.
And it's trying to rebuild it from underground. So it is very likely that Trump saying this attack is going to come to there has a dual message. One, it is saying the United States is going to move their attacks more inward towards Iran, towards Tehran, towards the center of the country. But also it's saying, we know what you're doing. We know that you're rebuilding this, and we know that, and we're coming after that. But all this is a way to try to get Iran back to the negotiating table. Trump would do that, but I would argue that he would happily call that attack off if Iran would come back to some sort of resolution about Hormuz.
So another piece of news that came across my plate, I had to ask you about this. Bill Stewart, he's with Reuters. Trump says the U.S. is looking into whether there are Iranian drones in Cuba. Says, quote, if they do have that, and they might very...
Shit, what's up, Brother Blair? Good morning to you.
Well have that. We'll take care of it, unquote. Another quote there saying, we're not going to have a problem. We're not going to allow that to happen. So it could be that they are storing some. We're looking into it now. That made me wonder alone. Is this something that's been on your radar, an Iran-Cuba connection?
Yes.
So I will say that
we've all been kind of watching that whole ordeal with Cuba in the regards to them receiving some drones and stuff like that.
I did not read that when I saw it come out as more than trying to divert attention on the one hand away from Iran and also bringing about the Iranian threat to something that's close to home. You know, one of the things that Trump has contended with very much from within the majority of the United States, but certainly within
Yeah, but we
The
would have to give
question
them.
of what is this?
We'd have to give them federal funding, which I wouldn't want to do for any like remember when Greenland was a topic of discussion and Canada and all that shit? We would have to give them federal funding.
Have to do with us if Iran ends up.
And then we would end up having representatives in the area, which, oh man, I don't know if I trust any Cuban to, over there in Cuba specifically, to be a representative
Block the
at
Straits
all.
of Hormuz, which Trump has said the United States doesn't even need, or if Iran ends up having missiles which cannot reach the United States, what does it have to do with us? And bringing Cuba into this game of why are we attacking Iran? Is Cuba a threat? I read as something as trying to bring the threat a little bit more home.
Yeah, Cuba's priorities are all fucked up. Let's just call it like it is. All right, let's go ahead and get into these last two stories here. Trump enforces Iranian blockade in Strait of Hormuz, declares 20% toll, by the way, for all the ships going through. So let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what is going on here. This morning, 4 hours ago.
Focusing now on the developments in the Middle East and what's happening between the U.S. and Iran. As we know, the U.S. is restarting some of those attacks against Iran after disruptions at the Strait of Hormuz. Joining us next at Live is Caroline Shively with the team at Fox News. Now, Caroline, what exactly is the U.S. military targeting at these times?
Hi there, Corral. They hit Iranian defense systems.
She needs to bring her down.
Along the coast, as well as drone and missile sites deeper inland. They also said they hit a submarine and ship maintenance facility, and that's the first time U.S. forces have employed sea drones in combat operations. All told, it took about 5 hours overnight.
A lot of these developments coming in very quickly, but we do know that President Trump did inform several Congress members that these official military operations were restarting once again. Caroline, what?
And I broke that news to you guys as soon as I saw it. I think I was 10 minutes late to the game of seeing it.
Do we know? What are lawmakers saying at this
yesterday?
time?
Sure, this is very interesting because, of course, by notifying Congress in this official letter to Senator Grassley, that starts the 60-day clock ticking once again, saying that the ceasefire is over. So the White House has 60 days to stop hostilities and come back to Congress for permission. The White House says that is unconstitutional. It's never been tested in court, however. Democrats were absolutely scathing in their response yesterday. Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, went on the floor and said, "Oh, you say we're back at war? No kidding, Donald."
And then finally, because there is so much to keep track of here, the Strait of Hormuz, obviously top of mind here. President Trump saying he is reinstating a blockade at the strait later on today. He also said, Caroline, that he would charge a 20% fee for any cargo moving through the strait. Now, what would that money collected from the fee? What would
That's a fact, Jack. Appreciate that, Steve.
that go to?
It would basically be for safety and security, according to the president. And that was a shocker that we heard from the White House yesterday, because the U.S. and Iran has been wanting to put some type of toll or fee for ships crossing through the strait. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said that's against international law.
And then on top of that, right after all of that, then Trump is like, if anyone's going to be charging a toll over here, it's going to be us.
Will not allow that to happen. So it was a bit of a shocker to hear that from President Trump, saying that would be instated.
What's up, PJ? Good morning.
On the U.S. side.
All right, Caroline Shively there with our team at Fox News. Caroline, always a pleasure to speak with you. We'll check in soon. All right, and as you can see here, if you're viewing us right now, we do have another poll there.
Yeah, I don't care about that poll that she made over there. We're going to move on into U.S. resumes strikes on Iran for third day. This coming out just 3 hours ago. So let's go ahead and bring this up, figure out what's happening here, and we'll get into it.
All right, continue more with our day's top stories. Of course, one of them continues to be the developments over there in the Middle East, as we are tracking more U.S. strikes and operations against Iran. This comes as negotiations were happening throughout the last several weeks, but disruptions continue there at the Strait of Hormuz. Taking a look at a social media post courtesy of Trey Yings, the Fox News correspondent. He says this: more U.S. strikes against Iran tonight. This was yesterday that he posted this. Now, he says the strikes come as the U.S. is reimposing the naval blockade of Iranian ports, according to President Trump. The blockade will go into effect 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
That's very interesting. So the blockade will be totally enforced at 4 p.m. Eastern today, by the way.
According to CENTCOM.
So that would be 3 p.m. Eastern, or 3 p.m. Central for me.
So again, he posted this on social media yesterday, meaning that blockade goes into effect at 4 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We still have live images of the Strait of Hormuz, courtesy of marine traffic. The green dots you see on your screen are cargo vessels. The red dots are tanker vessels. But
we know that.
Where do we stand today? Where do we go from here? Joining us next to answer some of these questions is Jonathan Sayed. He is an Iran program research analyst at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracy.
Jonathan.
Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you again.
Thanks for being here.
And we're only going to get a little bit of the front monologue here. We're not going to listen to the whole thing.
So really, let's just start with that where are we today? Military operations have started back up again. There was a period of negotiations. The Strait of Hormuz is back here in the spotlight. I mean, how do we make sense of where we stand today, Jonathan?
As to where we are today, we're effectively back at the position we had before the blockade was removed, but we've not really at the point of total war either. So if you look at every component of the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, it's effectively collapsed, as the president noted, because one, the Islamic Republic continued to attack vessels in the Strait despite having a deal that was mostly favoring it. So they were getting sanction waivers and the naval blockade was removed, and all they had to do was refrain from throttling the Strait, and they couldn't do that.
Yep, they typed a little too fast on the headline there. Yep.
So now we're seeing the blockade come back on, which was, again, the biggest leverage the United States had against the Islamic Republic. Now that is being supplemented with strikes. But when I'm looking at the strikes, I'm particularly looking for...
Yeah, Straight Jacket, you know what's funny about her is... couple years ago, she was pretty big. She was a pretty big girl, but she's lost a lot of weight in the last couple of years.
The targets, they continue to be military assets primarily in the south of Iran. But that said, the third wave did go in the heartlands in the major cities. So that is indicative of escalation. But whether we're going to arrive at the point of total war, we yet to see. But the president did notify Congress that he intends for this situation to escalate on the kinetic front.
Yes, and so that they're going to escalate on the kinetic front and basically restart the clock of 60 days.
What's also interesting about this is that we have seen a kind of this back and forth
What's up,
between
Jack?
the
Good
U.S.
morning.
and Iran,
Anniversary.
talking about who really controls the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the U.S. President Trump has said that they want to control it. Iran says no way. Walk us back here, Jonathan. Maybe a little bit of a history lesson here. When we look at the Strait of Hormuz, which is interesting because now it has been something that we talk about almost every day since this war started. How was it operating? How did Iran first become that major operator and, you know, the overseer of the passageway here?
Historically, just how Iran is situated in the West Asian region has given it more or less influence across the Strait. This goes back to even before the 1979 revolution. But that said, it was under the current regime that the regime started to test this leverage. We first saw a sign under the first Trump administration when the regime would attack boats and lay mines here and there, but it was nothing as extensive as it is right now. It was a strategy like many other ones, and I think the regime realized that the Strait works out in its favor more than other deterrence measures they had in place. For example, the Ring of Fire, as it called it, which is the proxy network. Now we see them more double down on the Strait over the proxy because on one hand, it's much cheaper for them to throttle the Strait.
It's easier to throttle the Strait because really to enforce it, all it really takes is a threat. Now, yes, you can make an example out of, certain ships or whatever the case is so that other ships, the captains know, and also the ship owners and all that, no, not to move. And if you move, this could happen to you right here. And so enforcing it is very easy to close it.
All it takes for them to attack vessels going through is simply a very cheap drone. Sometimes they use cheaper missiles, but it's oftentimes one-way drones. And in return, you see gas prices go up. You see that political cost being imposed against the Trump administration. So it's a gamble that is more or less in Tehran's favor, only in the short term. So the question really is how we can really address this. And the MOU did really focus on the Strait more than the nuclear issue. So the latest agreement between the two sides was mostly on the Strait. And as soon as Tehran realized that is something that this administration cares about politically, especially with midterms coming up, they doubled down. They wanted to ensure that the world knows they're not backing down over the Strait. So that's the situation we're in today. And I will end that with, when we're too focused on the Strait, what happens is this regime moves parallel on other tracks. As we're distracted with that chokehold, the regime has now moved with his nuclear ambitions again. Sites that were previously not struck are now again being threatened by the United States because the regime is using the Strait as a distraction measure so they can move with nuclear ambitions once again in different sites.
So the Strait of Hormuz obviously top of mind here, but in terms of how we've seen Iran move over the past couple of days, we know that it's also targeting Bahrain, Jordan, the UAE, a lot of these places.
Yeah, Jordan got they got a little messed up yesterday.
Places that house some U.S. military or they're friends of the U.S. Jonathan, given how everything has progressed, how is Iran assessing the risks of these actions? What would happen if some of these countries decided to really bring kind of their movement into this more directly in this war, I should say?
What makes Tehran's
I appreciate that panel first. Appreciate it a lot.
Decisions a bit more calculated is that, let's go back to the countries you just noted, Bahrain, UAE, maybe Kuwait, to lesser extent Saudi Arabia, also Oman. But with the latest round, Israel is nowhere to be seen. Iran is refraining.
And that's on purpose.
From attacking Israel. But they're going after
Israel is in the naughty corner right now.
For the Persian Gulf Arab states, probably because they anticipate that these countries are not going to retaliate meaningfully. The United Arab Emirates is the closest thing the regime got to retaliation. There were some unconfirmed reports that the United Arab Emirates took out a few targets inside Iran. Again, that was very limited, maybe a symbolic move, if even true. So Tehran's calculus here is that Israel is the only one that not only responds, but responds meaningfully. And that's why they're afraid of opening up that front. Because
Well, they over-respond, and that's Trump's problem, regards to Israel, of course. All right, quickly, we do have an update that just came out. ICE told to immediately cease, quote, most vehicle stops. So let's go ahead and bring this up and see what the fuck is being talked about here.
Right now, though, I want to pop this up as well as we continue.
It's coming out 17 minutes ago.
To follow some breaking news related to all of that, as our buddy Bill Maloogian over at Fox News says, per multiple federal sources to Fox News, ICE has been instructed to immediately cease most vehicle stops during immigration enforcement operations nationwide, except for operations targeting the most egregious criminal aliens. This comes after two.
Hey, you want to know a little get around straight? Is you can't live stream from your phone until you have 50 subs, I think. But you can go onto your computer and have 0 subscribers, and you can live stream to it. So
people were killed by ICE in shootings in Texas and Maine in the last week in incidents that began as vehicle stops. DHS alleges one of those incidents was a ramming attempt. I'm told this will be temporary until ICE officers receive new training on vehicle stops. The policy change will have significant impacts as many of ICE's arrests begin as vehicle stops when they find and follow a target, as we've witnessed on multiple embeds. Of course, he's talking about the fact that Bill Maloogian there has been on ride-alongs with ICE over the last several months as the crackdown on illegal immigration has been underway. Again, that is coming in from Bill Maloogian there at Fox News. Right now, once again, you are taking a live.
of course, we're going to be following all these stories that we presented today. Of course, that's what we do here.
Look over in Maine as that protest is underway. It is an anti-ICE protest happening.
Surprising.
And I'm not sure if this one is, again, outside of the office of Susan Collins, but many of them have been out there. Looks like there are some speakers there as well. We'll keep you posted on everything.
Look at that lady. Jeez, look at these people. This is what... Jesus, man. Some deformed motherfuckers.
Happens here on Live Now.
They all kind of have the same look, you know?
From Fox.
Shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for supporting the show and also contributing, hitting that like button, donating, all those things, becoming a member and staying members. It's a big deal, man. So thank you guys for allowing me to do this Monday through Friday. And of course, members only on Saturday morning, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. I got to get to a doctor's appointment, believe it or not. And we'll see you guys here tomorrow. And much love, honor, respect to all of you legends. We'll see you guys very soon. And God bless you guys.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges.